Welcome to the relaunch of the Build It Better podcast. I'm Robert Johnson, and if you've followed my journey for any length of time, you know one thing. I've spent decades in construction. I've seen the cycles, the labor swings, the material spikes, the schedule compression, the optimism, the chaos. And somewhere along the way, we accepted something as normal: volatility. We started calling it just the nature of construction. But here's the truth. In 2026, volatility is no longer a badge of honor. It's a liability. Developers are no longer just building projects. They're managing capital stacks. They're protecting IRR. They're underwriting risk. They're answering to equity partners. They're navigating labor instability. They're dealing with insurance markets that are tightening. They're watching interest rates closely. They're being asked to deliver faster with less margin of error. And yet, many are still building the same way we did 30 years ago. Same sequencing, same fragmentation, same reactive coordination, same we've always done it this way. That disconnect is exactly why this podcast is coming back. Because the conversation needs to shift. This show is not about materials. Let me say that again. This show is not about materials. It's about mindset. It's about industrialized thinking in a traditionally fragmented industry. It's about a simple but powerful idea. Risk is the new currency in construction. If you can reduce it, you win. If you can control it, you lead. If you can eliminate unnecessary volatility, you create leverage. That's what we're going to talk about here. This relaunch is proudly sponsored by Global Haven Ventures. And what I want to be clear about is this. This is not a promotional platform. It's a strategic one. Global Haven Ventures believes in modernizing project delivery through early alignment, of course, through prefabrication strategy and integrated thinking, not because it's trendy, but because predictability matters. This show is an extension of that philosophy. We're bringing together forward-thinking developers, architects that are embracing DFMA, capital partners who understand risk, manufacturers who think like operators, municipal leaders shaping the future of code, innovators redefining labor and logistics. These won't be surface-level conversations, folks. We'll discuss why line item comparison is a trap, the real cost of schedule delay, installed outcome versus material pricing, why early prefab decisions change everything, why 7 floors over 2 podium is evolving, how to protect IRR from field chaos, and why predictability may be the most valuable commodity in development. Every guest on this show will answer one question. If you could permanently eliminate one risk in your projects, what would it be? Because that answer tells you everything about where the industry is heading. Look, I'm not new to this industry. I've framed buildings, I've consulted startups, worked in the weeds, sat in boardrooms, and here's what I know. The projects that succeed today are not just well designed. They are well aligned. Alignment between design and manufacturing, scheduling and capital, procurement and sequencing, expectation and execution. You see, when alignment exists, chaos decreases. When chaos decreases, confidence increases. And when confidence increases, well, developers scale. That's what we're building here. It's not anti-trade. It's not anti-tradition. It's not about tearing down the past. Good grief, folks. I'm an old guy. There is wisdom in tried and tested. But times change. Capital markets change. Labor markets change. Insurance markets change. Technology changes. The question isn't whether construction will evolve. The question is who will lead that evolution. This podcast is for developers who are tired of surprises, architects who want to design with intention, capital partners who understand schedule equals money, operators who want clarity, leaders who know the old playbook is fading. You see, if you're building mid-rise multifamily, if you're in senior living, if you're in workforce housing, if you're in build to rent, if you're scaling portfolios, this is the right place. I was going to say this is your place, but your place is the right place. In the coming episodes, we'll sit down with developers that are reshaping delivery strategy, architects designing for manufacturing, capital partners who view construction through a risk lens, manufacturers who are turning job sites into assembly systems. And we're going to ask better questions because better questions build better projects. Construction doesn't have to be chaotic. Delivery doesn't have to feel uncertain. Schedule doesn't have to be fragile. Margin doesn't have to depend on luck. There is a smarter way to build. The more aligned way, the more predictable way, the more industrialized way. That is what this podcast is about. Welcome to the relaunch of Build It Better podcast. Now let's build smarter. Let's reduce risk. And most of all, let's go out and build it better.